Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to quickly review Assassin's Creed Valhalla. This is a game that you can find on the Ubisoft store and possibly some other places for roughly around $60. I'm sure there's some different editions that you can purchase that will offer you different things. So, I will come out and say that I am not an experienced Assassin's Creed player. My first game was Odyssey, and I absolutely loved it. I have 62 hours in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I completed almost everything. It says my main progression is 93%. I found all of the hidden masked cult people. I've eliminated that entire branch of people, just everybody. So I did a lot of stuff in that game, and I really had a good time with it. I think the hardest part of that game for me was controlling my character and getting him to where I wanted to go sometimes. And then there was that one or two parts where I controlled this female character in modern day that told a separate story. I don't know anything about that. I have no tie with any of the prior games. I don't know what the deal is with this modern day world. From my understanding, there are this small group of people that have the ability to, I guess, enter this machine and go back in time and affect the lives of past people. But again, I know nothing about that. Valhalla does have that as well, but what I experienced in my 9 hours of playing so far, that only happened one time, and it was for 5 minutes. There was something wrong with the planet Earth, and some sort of magnetic field going on, or the auroras all over the place in the sky, and the world was in a lot of trouble. And I guess these people are trying to figure out how to save the planet by going back in time as this guy named Ivor and doing something in the past. Again, I don't know that side of this story. I'm just telling you, that's the general premise of this game. You're going to control this person named Ivor, and this is set in Viking times. So if you've ever watched the show Vikings, then you'll be somewhat familiar with this. These are paganistic, bloodthirsty, raid-hungry Klingons of sorts that will go around raiding villages and taking what they want. And, you know, they're all around pretty violent people, but they've got their own code. Again, they remind me of the Klingons from Star Trek, kind of, sort of. So Valhalla, I've noticed, is a little different than Odyssey. In Odyssey, loot was thrown at you constantly, to the point where it took several minutes to sell all of my equipment or break it down in order to get raw materials from it. This game is a little different. It doesn't throw loot at you. In fact, the starter equipment that I have, I've played for roughly 8-9 hours at this point, and I still have the same gear that I had when I first started. Rather than giving you new gear to equip, you're going to be upgrading your existing gear by getting these ingots. One of the things in the world that you'll find, these treasure troves, they will contain ingots, and then you can use these ingots to upgrade your gear. You can upgrade your gear in one of two ways. You can upgrade your gear to increase the number of rune slots. Runes are like special things that you can insert into your gear to give it some kind of special buff or power. And the more you upgrade your gear with these ingots, the more rune slots you can have. The other way to upgrade your gear is just to make the stats better, and that's through common material like leather or ore, and these are things that you find in the environment. So, long story short, you're going to be, again, encompassing this guy named Ivor in Viking times. The tutorial was roughly 6 to 7 hours long. It starts you off in this semi-small Viking village area, and the story there is, well, I don't want to ruin the story, so maybe I won't tell you about that. But long story short, you were unhappy with the current situation. So you and some other Vikings traveled to England, and that's where the story truly starts. Again, I don't want to spoil the story behind that, what happened to, you know, your family and why you became Wolf-Kissed, which is your nickname, and so on. Don't want to spoil that. but you eventually end up in England. That's where the game truly starts. And the gameplay cycle is go out, raid villages, come back, upgrade your settlement. You'll be gaining these resources called supplies, and you can construct buildings like blacksmith and stables and different things like that in order to upgrade your own settlement, which is really cool. So there is some kind of like a base building element. You'll be going out, getting stuff, coming back. I kind of lost my train of thought. Also, in terms of how this game is different from Odyssey, and I think that's where I was originally heading with this. Not only is it not throwing a whole lot of gear at you, but the upgrade tree is a little different. In Odyssey, there were 3 paths, I think, like 3 trees, kind of like in World of Warcraft. Whereas, in at least old World of Warcraft. In this game, instead you've got 3 trees, but they branch off in crazy directions. And what's weird is that the upgrades that you get for these trees it doesn't matter what trees you go down, because sometimes you get the same upgrades. Like going down the red tree, there's a passive increase in health buff, passive bonus. Going down this blue tree or the green tree, yellow tree, whatever it is, you'll get similar passive buffs. The only things that really change are like the major things that you'll get. Like there's a ranged tree, there's a stealth tree, and there's like a melee brute force tree. But again, you're going to be getting all these side passive bonuses that you can take as you play this game in any of these trees. So in theory, you could go down all 3 of these trees equally and still earn passive buffs for each, for the general stats that you have. It's just kind of weird to see, okay, if I go this way, this was going to give me health. If I go this way, this one's going to give me health too. If I go this way, oh, look at that, there's another health bonus over here. So it's like no matter what tree I go down, I'm going to be seeing the same passive upgrades. Another big difference in this game compared to Odyssey is the scaling. In this game, the game will tell you, okay, you need power level 20 or above in order to successfully raid this area. And in Odyssey, the enemies kind of scaled with you. So no matter how strong you got, the weaker areas were always like 5 levels below you or something like that. In this game, as far as I can tell, there is no scaling. At least based on the 9 hours that I've played it. So there's that. That was kind of cool. I like the fact that there is no enemy scaling. I can always go back and just murder older areas that I've been in before to collect supplies or just loot, whatever. The things that I don't like about the game is, first of all, there are bugs aplenty. In fact, there's a game-breaking bug. There's a quest called Unwelcome, which is one of the first quests that you get when you first arrive in England. And you go into this longhouse and you find these prisoners. You talk to them, and then the game freezes and you can't move your character. The way around that is you have to adjust your graphics quality one step above what it is, restart the game, replay the cutscene without touching anything on your keyboard or mouse, and then it'll progress. So there are some game-breaking bugs here that the developers still need to address. With a big game such as this that's worth $60, I would have hoped that they would have at least gotten the major bugs. I can understand a minor bug here and there, but it's still a pain. It's just, ugh. Another issue that I'm having, again, is the controls. Trying to get my character, like, a lot of times these houses will be locked. And, like, let's say that you're looking for this gold loot. Again, the map is scattered with various waypoints, and they've got loot here. And again, looting these things will get you, supplies for your village. Or it might give you a skill that your character can use. Or, again, these ingots that are used to upgrade your equipment. Well, a lot of times they're hidden, and it requires puzzle solving. I hate that. It's either parkouring or puzzle solving. This game is full of it. As a Viking, I expect to just go in, destroy a bunch of people, and get my loot and go. I don't remember ever in the show Vikings, Ragnar having to, the loot that I'm trying to get to, I have to first find the key, first I have to read this note, then find the key amongst these wolves, and then come back, go underground, then parkour across this to get this loot. Like, no. That's so annoying. This game, like, I don't know why, it's just, the developers are obsessed with parkouring, and I hate it. I really do. I hate the parkouring part of the puzzling. I don't mind parkouring for combat, meaning get on top of this ledge and then assassinate from high above, or sneak around assassinating people. That's fine. Vikings typically didn't do that, but you eventually learn how to do that. Like 2 or 3 hours into this game, you're taught how to assassinate. Originally, at the start, you can't do that. But when it comes to puzzle solving, like, as a Viking, I don't expect, like, that's not realistic. I'm sorry. And I hate having to alt-tab because I get frustrated. I'll look around for 15 minutes trying to find a way into this place to get the loot, and it's just annoying. And I have to alt-tab, go to a wiki or a guide somewhere. Okay, there it is. Oh, it's underwater. I have to swim here. I have to destroy this thing to get in. I'm underwater. I'm swinging at this wall, but it's not breaking. Oh, I didn't aim in the exact right spot. The game wanted me to, so I couldn't get in there. But now I can because my character's now facing the appropriate direction. It's just little things like that annoy and frustrate me. And there are even like these, there's these artifacts that you can get, and you have to follow this note. Like this little letter, there's like a little white piece of paper, and you have to parkour on the top of buildings, over trees, and follow it, and you have to keep up with it. So it's sort of like a speed run challenge. Get from point A to point B and follow it as quickly as you can in order to complete it, and I hate it. I don't do any of them. And I feel like I'm missing out on part of these rewards because the game is forcing me to parkour and speed run in certain places to get these things. I don't like that. Far Cry 5, I did the same thing. Or Far Cry 4 and 5, I completely ignored anything that involved racing or speed runs. I don't like that stuff. In a game that involves Vikings and raiding, I shouldn't really have to worry about spending 10 minutes trying to find my way into a building. Just break down the wall, for crying out loud. Get in there, take the loot, and go. As a Viking, there is no puzzle solving. You know what I mean? So it felt out of place and it annoyed me. So, like, for everything that I liked about this game, I found something that I didn't like about it. And I find myself liking Odyssey better, despite the fact that Odyssey had scaling. Like, in Odyssey, you could get a ship, and you can have ship battles and upgrade your ship. In this game, you've got this canoe, and you're raiding. And the raiding part is cool. You get close to an enemy village or settlement, and you hit F to raid or whatever. All of your boat pulls up to the dock, and then all of your guys come out and start raiding the village. And then you'll get materials, you'll come back to your boat and move on to whatever it is you want to do. That part of it's cool, but I kind of miss Odyssey in a number of ways. Odyssey had less. Yes, Odyssey still had some puzzle solving stuff that I had to look up. So there are things that were hidden in the environment. This game, it seems to double down on that, and I don't enjoy that aspect of the game. The combat is okay. It's much more rough and rough around the edges. It's I kind of miss Odyssey's way of fighting. Like, I felt like more of an assassin in Odyssey. I felt like I was able to sneak up on guys, take them down. The animations looked cooler. Like, I was a stealthy assassin. I felt like one in that game. And you had bounties, and you had all sorts of cool things that you could do. In this game, again, you're more of a brute force kind of guy. Yes, you can sneak around and do things, but it does feel out of place. I didn't get any bounties yet. There were some, like, named champions that you ran into, but no one really hunted you like in Odyssey as so far in my 8 or 9 hours of playing. So, in a lot of ways, this game has let me down, and I kind of regret buying it. At the same time, I do want to keep playing it. It's not bad. and I do want to give it a chance because maybe it will get better. This is not a game that you can play for 2 hours and go, yeah, I've seen everything. Now, even with the 8 or 9 hours that I've played it, I still need to play it for another 10, 20 hours before I'm comfortable in saying that I've seen almost everything. So, do I recommend this game? At this point, I would say if you're new to Assassin's Creed in general, I recommend Odyssey. Even though it has a ton more loot drops, like Odyssey feels like Borderlands and how much loot it gives you. I like the mechanics from Odyssey better. I like the bounty boards from that. I really enjoy that. I like the sneaking around, the upgrade trees, I don't know, it felt more clean, and I liked more things about Odyssey than I do about Valhalla. That being said, Valhalla does improve in a couple of ways. Again, namely with the whole scaling thing. I like the fact that it doesn't scale the areas like Odyssey does in terms of enemy leveling. The rating system is cool, like I said, and there are some other, skill tree improvements that, give me more choices, but again, these extra choices feel kind of redundant because no matter what tree you go down, oh yeah, there's a health upgrade this way, there's a health upgrade that way, there's a power upgrade that way, health this. It's like, well, no matter which way I go, I'm getting the same buffs. So, I don't know. If this game had less, I would like this game more if it had less parkouring, less puzzle solving, and more, just more combat. As a Viking game, that's what I expected. And instead I got this, I got a lot of story, which I don't mind, but then I've got a lot of parkouring and a lot of puzzle solving. To get to 100% this game, you have to, do the extra stuff on the map, and a lot of it is parkouring. There were some cool things that I came across. Like, there are these mysteries where it's sort of like a little side quest / story that you can... I came across these kids, and I play rated with them. I was taking down dummies, and the boys were narrating the story as I was doing it. That was cool. Those are things I want to see more of. I don't care to chase an artifact or a piece of paper across rooftops. No. No. I just don't care. No. Get rid of that. Bring in more of the story side missions. I want to see bounties. I want to see more combat. Less parkouring. Less... I don't know. Yeah, so like I said, for everything that I liked about this game, I came across something that frustrated me as equally. And yeah, so that's it so far. Assassin's Creed Valhalla, do I recommend it? I would honestly wait for a sale, but that's just me. Most Assassin's Creed lovers have already bought this game, so I'm more than likely talking to somebody right now that is on the fence about buying it because they're not as invested. My advice is wait a little while, maybe play Odyssey instead. If you haven't played it already. Odyssey is a fantastic game. I really recommend that one. This game is okay, but I don't think it's as good, personally. But that's just me. If you guys haven't already, subscribe to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.